You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. Of course, every Wednesday, the SEC Coaches Teleconference, Brian Kelly leads off every Wednesday. And as you might imagine, the first question out the chute was an update on Jayden Daniels, and it is good news for the LSU quarterback.
He worked out this morning, and it appears as though that workout went well, which is the last stage before he's cleared for non-contact practice. So we're expecting him to practice today. If all things go well through practice today, then he'll be cleared for contact on Thursday.
That's awesome news. Kind of what we had told you earlier this week. What I'd been told was the symptoms were mild, and they expected that Jayden would be able to play on Saturday, but you have to clear concussion protocol. I've been asked a lot, would they risk it? Would Jayden that's not a thing. If you tweak your knee and you could put a brace on it, you get a pain-killing injection, you try to go play, that's different. You can't play until you clear concussion protocol. So Brian Kelly was asked point blank if Jayden Daniels had a concussion. He stopped short of that. He basically just meandered and said, well, he's in our protocol. So he didn't want to give sort of an official diagnosis, but whatever. The point being, Jayden worked out this morning. He's set to go through practice, non-contact this afternoon here on Wednesday. If that's all good, he'll be cleared for contact on Thursday and trending toward playing on Saturday. Now, Brian Kelly was also asked, and I guess sometimes in a press conference, you ask a question knowing the answer, but you have to ask the question because you need the quote, right? If you're a reporter and you're writing a story or you're doing a radio show or you're putting together a television package, you need the coach speaking on the record about certain things. So Brian Kelly was asked, what if Jayden Daniels isn't cleared until later in the week and doesn't get a bunch of practice time? Like, would he still start in the game?
He has moved through these stages to the point where he worked out this morning, ran 20 miles an hour. So if he goes through today's practice, then we'll decide, what's his preparation level, compared to, Nussmeier's preparation level, and make a decision on who would start on Saturday.
Jayden Daniels is leading college football in total offense. He's been in this offense for 2 years. He is the most efficient and highest performing quarterback in all the land. If Jayden Daniels is cleared, he is going to start and play against Florida. That should seem very obvious to all of us, but I do understand why you have to ask the question. So that's the great news. LSU and Jayden Daniels are trending toward him being able to play. For what it's worth, Billy Napier on the SEC Coaches Teleconference was asked about the challenge of preparing for two different quarterbacks, and he did point out the experience that Garrett Nussmeier has.
I think Nussmeier, because of kind of the flow of the last couple of years, has had an opportunity to play significant snaps and really play at some meaningful times. So they're both do a good job of making decisions, distributing the ball.
For what it's worth, of course, Nussmeier in his career has over 1,300 passing yards. And it's hard to believe this because he's been in a backup role, but Garrett's thrown 174 passes in his career. He's got 8 touchdowns and 6 picks. He has played a lot of football during his time. Remember, as a freshman, when it was TJ Finley, it was in 2021, excuse me. It was Max Johnson who was starting, and then late in that season, they started Garrett against Arkansas. That was the game LSU lost in overtime, 17-14, I believe was the final, and that was a hideous offensive game. But he started that football game. We got to see him play in relief in the SEC championship game last year when Jayden got hurt, and he's had opportunities this year to play in some of the one-sided games. So, and obviously at Alabama when Jayden was injured. So, yes, Garrett's played a lot of football, and I think that's one of the more interesting potential storylines. Listen, we all want Jayden Daniels to be healthy. We want him to play these final 3 games. We want Jayden Daniels to stat compile and continue to give himself an opportunity to win the Heisman Trophy. But if we're just talking about like interest or intrigue, I think we could all agree, like, I am interested to see what it would look like with Garrett Nussmeier if it came to that. Now, again, I want Jayden Daniels to be healthy and I want Jayden Daniels to play, but that would be interesting. The other thing too, and listen, I'll go ahead and correct myself on this. You know, we immediately after the game on Saturday when LSU lost to Alabama, T-Bob and I were doing Whiskey and Wine, and I made mention of the fact that Jayden's Heisman chances are gone. I mean, you're a 3-loss team, and yes, there are quarterbacks that have lost 3 games throughout a history that have gone on to win the Heisman. RG3 is a great example of that back in 2011. Lamar Jackson in 2016. Quarterbacks that had put together such incredible individual seasons, even though their team wasn't competing for a national championship, still won the Heisman. But that has to happen in a year where there isn't an obvious candidate, and that may be the case this year, where as of now there isn't an obvious candidate. Well, immediately after the game on Saturday, Jayden Daniels was removed from DraftKings as far as the Heisman odds. They took him off the board. Now, that might have been in part due to the injury, but Jayden has reemerged back on the DraftKings Heisman odds, and he is currently listed with the 7th best odds at plus 1,600. Now, that is a deep decline from where he was when the Alabama game started with the 2nd best odds. But at plus 1,600, he's only behind Penix, Bo Nix, Jordan Travis, J.J. McCarthy, Carson Beck, and then Marvin Harrison Jr. And then you see Jayden Daniels at plus 1,600. For context, Jalen Milroe is plus 4,000. Jayden Daniels still has better odds than Jalen Milroe. So if Daniels plays the next 3 games, if Daniels is able to continue putting up stats the way he is, if LSU wins the next 3 weeks and finishes 9-3, and in the process, maybe Washington loses, Bo Nix and Oregon lose again, maybe Jordan Travis and Florida State drop a game. If not the regular season, maybe they lose the ACC championship game. It'd be really nice to see J.J. McCarthy and Michigan lose to Ohio State. There's a lot of things that could transpire, right? That could maybe clear that path for Jayden to get back. But, of course, what's paramount is being healthy, number one, and getting back on the field and continue to perform at that level. So, very interesting as this could continue to transpire. We'll keep an eye on it. But the great news today is it looks like Jayden Daniels is trending toward being able to play on Saturday in Tiger Stadium. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.